It was a very sad day, viewers, for India yesterday. The country lost at least 26 lives in one of the worst air attacks on civilians in Jammu and Kashmir in recent years. Now, Lashkar Proxy, the resistant front terrorists, opened fire on tourists in Pahalgam. It was a peak tourist rush hours when these terrorists targeted the people who were horse riding in the region. Gory and horrific visuals have since then flooded our social media, showing what these people underwent when the carnage took place in Pahalgam. Now, according to eyewitnesses, these were targeted killings where Hindus, they were stripped naked, they were singled out, they were shot in front of their families. So joining me now is Abhijit Patel, somebody who's a leading tour operator from the region. He's worked in the region for about 7 decades now. His family has been working in the region for those many years. They've witnessed Kashmir in its good days, in its glory, in its bad days as well. So thank you, Abhijit, for joining us here. I want to begin by asking you, you've been carrying out, ground reports, you've been closely tracking this incident. How did the incident unfold yesterday?
First and foremost, our heart and condolences reach out to the bereaved family members of those who were attacked yesterday. It's really one of the most unfortunate incidences to be in the history of Kashmir, where tourists have been actually singled out and attacked by terrorists. So one of the most dastardly acts. I'm primarily from Mumbai, but we've been in the thick and thin right through the peak of militancy, but we have never had such an incident. So this is really a very sad day in Jammu Kashmir.
Clearly. Now I want to ask you about the search operation that has been going on. What are the updates that we have on that, and also the update on the conditions of those who were injured in the attack?
Three very discerning aspects which are encouraging. One is that the entire hospitality and travel fraternity of Jammu Kashmir has unanimously come out. They had candle vigils yesterday. They were chanting slogans against this terrorism act, which we have not seen in the peak of militancy times between 1996 to 2002. So that's very encouraging that they have had enough of all this nonsense. The entire generation is being lost. They understand it. Second thing is the tourists by and large are feeling very safe in the valley. Immediately, my younger brother happens to be the Maharashtra Tour Operators Association president. So we immediately sent out a message to all the tour operators. They have been very forthcoming, and as a sign of solidarity with standing with Jammu and Kashmir for the betterment and national integration, nobody is going to cancel their tours. Yes, of course, we understand the security of the passengers, and should somebody want to postpone or cancel, we will extend the courtesy. But as a strong message to the divisive forces that are trying to do this, the Maharashtra Tour Operators Association members are not going to cancel any tours. So that's the second very big takeaway. The third, of course, is that the entire machinery is behind ensuring the safety of the tourists here. So by and large, we are having a lot of tourists not really stepping out today morning. We have also advised them because of the VIP movement going on. But by afternoon, we have told them that they can start moving and freely move around. Again, your other part of the question was that what's the status of the other family members
People who've been injured
attacked
in the attack, yes.
I did offer to Omar Saab's team that I am happy to come to Anantnag and be there with them, but I was advised against it because a lot of ministers and the secretary level bureaucrats have been all deputed to be there, and with a huge press contingent. It was deemed more appropriate by the CM's team that I actually sit in Srinagar and marshal the queries and problems of the tour operators and their passengers.
All right, you've been talking about tourists and how efforts are now being taken to make sure that they do not fear such attacks could happen again. Tell me this, now there has always been this silent rule in the valley that tourists would not be harmed even during the years of militancy. Then what was your immediate reaction to this incident taking place in Pahalgam, which is a tourist hub? And also you said you're making sure that tourists do not fear coming to the valley now. So what kind of steps are we seeing in that direction?
So you're absolutely right that this is the first time that tourists have actually been singled out and shot at.
Yes.
And that's a very, very unfortunate development. Having said that, I personally, I'm probably the only non-Kashmiri travel agent who has visited Kashmir each and every year of my life throughout the peak of militancy, etc. also. So I can say that my experience feels that this is a one-off dastardly attack. and created more to disrupt the bonhomie and the normalcy returning to Kashmir. The next 24 hours or 48 hours will let us know how this pans out. But we are not seeing this as a very strong concerted terrorist attack which used to happen for 3 days. Army and terrorists are interlocked in regions of Srinagar or by outskirts of Srinagar. Also, importantly, the tourists, by and large, who are in the valley, are seeing the normalcy and are not really asking for immediate refunds or to rush back to their homes, which is encouraging. However, the passengers who are booked for coming week have apprehensions because they are not privy to the ground reality and the safety element which is palpable. For example, in the peak of militancy time, if such an incident happened, we could feel the fear in the air. We
Yes.
would know that this is not a one-off thing and it can happen again day after tomorrow or tomorrow. That fear is not there in Kashmir. Srinagar is quite uh, open. The tourists are not moving in big numbers now. I'm sure in the evening they'll step out slowly and steadily. But life is quite normal in Kashmir.
Clearly, this was an attack on the fact that normalcy had returned to the valley after years of the region reeling under militancy. We had seen the numbers going up in terms of tourists coming to the region. It was a surge in the tourist arrivals. So then we also have Amarnath pilgrimage coming up that's going to begin in July. So what are we looking at that?
Um, Amarnath we can keep on the back burner for now because it's still July. The immediate concern is the full occupancy which Kashmir was having during the
The summer
period of
tourism.
May. So
Yes.
the all the hotels were having nearly 100% occupancy in May period, and that is the immediate concern area. Like I said before, in the next 24 hours, we will understand the ground reality as the dust settles down. The Hotel Owners Association, the Houseboat Owners Association, the taxi owners have taken out a silent protest march condemning the action in Lal Chowk. Again, I repeat, this was not the way they would come out because of the fear factor. But this time, the entire valley is coming out against terrorism. It is not just about their livelihood. It is also a sad moment for them because the normalcy of Kashmir can also be attributed not just to the safe environment post abrogation 370, which prevailed in the valley in the last 3 years, but also to the hospitality which the local Kashmiris extended. And they feel sad that this kind of attack undermines the hospitality and the kind of brotherhood
Exactly.
they were extending towards the courtesy towards the tourists from all over India and puts them in bad light. So immediate worry is not what happens to my bread and butter tomorrow, as much as the sad factor that why does it have to happen in spite of us putting the best hospitality out. And this is sending a very strong message to whoever has orchestrated this that the valley will not stand behind them. Fearful.
All right, my last question to you is, you've talked about Article 370. So I want to understand from your point of view, somebody who's knee deep in that tourism industry in the region, what kind of changes have you witnessed from 2019 till today in terms of tourism in the valley, the kind of normalcy that has set in?
Yes. So, not to pat my back, but very proud of what we do for national integration. Even when the Buranwari incident happened, I was asked to fly down to give a report to Rajnath Singh ji, who was then Home Minister.
Okay.
After Article 370, when Amit Shah ji came, I was amongst the 15 people with him on the Dal board. And I was invited by Jammu Kashmir for the G20 summit. So I've seen Kashmir through and through all these years. As also last year, the entire election campaign time, 3 times I visited Jammu and Kashmir. In that perspective, I would say that from a tourist perspective, I can competently tell you certain developments which are very, very positive. Um, uh, a lot of normalcy has come back. Women have come out. My wife, who had come about 8 years ago, was
Okay.
not very comfortable going to the dargah. But last year when she came, she with the daughter and all stepped out. They went shopping in the bylanes of the dargah. Contrary to me, she's more conservative and timid. And in that sense, we are seeing a lot of positiveness amongst the youth. G20 summit, we could actually see, and even the delegates who came from abroad, they are not fools. They can understand a staged audience when they stepped out on the final day towards Polo View for some shopping and all. They could see the locals waving out to them, which was very genuine. And in that sense, there is a matter of pride amongst the Srinagar folk that G20 हमारे शहर में आया. A lot of infrastructure developments have happened. Maybe the credit is not being duly given to Modi and Modi ji that he brought this to the table. But I think by and large, the normal Kashmiri is tired and fed up of the terrorism. They also understand, thanks to social media, the nonsense that Pakistan has been dishing out.
Yes.
Social media has played a pivotal role in them understanding where our friendly neighbors stand, and that boogie has been squashed in their minds. Yes, I think this attack was a culmination of all this. It was just undigestible to certain people that so much normalcy and so much anti-Pakistan sentiments are now prevalent in the valley is my personal assumption, or my personal takeaway from what has happened yesterday.
All right. Well, clearly, as you mentioned, that a lot of progress had been made in the valley since 2019. Normalcy had returned, but clearly this attack comes as a blot to all the progress that we've made over the years. Now, what happens next? We'll have to see. Abhijit Patel joining us on India Today Global and giving us the latest updates from the ground. Thank you so much.